Hey guys, Chris Collects Things back again. How you doing? And in today's video, I'm going to start a series of tier lists starting with the base set, where I will rank every card in each particular set. I will work my way up through the WotC and then see where we go, because as we know, some of these sets are very massive. So with that said, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can be notified of any future tier lists or openings. And let's get into it. So I found this tier list on Tier List Maker website, which everybody uses for tier lists pretty much. And it looks like everything's here. All the cards are assorted in alphabetical order, so I'll just go left to right and we'll go through all the cards. I think I'll mention pricing of the cards, but in my review, my ranking, I'll take into consideration maybe nostalgia purposes for me, how the card looks, possibly some meta since I did play back in the day, so I can give you my opinion on the meta of certain cards, and just maybe value or mystique, I guess, of the card. So, without further ado, let's get into the tier list. First up is Base Set Abra. So if you see me looking at my phone, I'm just looking at the TCG player prices, and I will mention that the prices for the cards that I'm going to rattle off is the unlimited, not the shadowless price. Obviously a shadowless like near mint card will go for more than just the unlimited and first edition and so forth. So I'm just gonna go with the normal prices and just expect, like, if you have a shadowless or a first edition card, that they'll be worth considerably more, obviously based on the condition. So Abra number 43 is a common. Nothing really special. It's worth about 51 cents in its normal form. Buy a trade, cool looking picture here. It's just an okay card. I mean, I do like the Abra line, but I'm gonna put it right in the C tier for now. But its final form, Alakazam, which was a very interesting card in the meta, if I do remember. I think it had, the Pokemon Power damage swap. So as often during your turn, you may move one damage counter from one Pokemon to another, as long as it doesn't knock out the Pokemon. Obviously, it can't be used if Alakazam has a status condition. So this was a very important card in the meta for swapping around damage from one Pokemon to the next. Not to mention, Alakazam is one of my favorite Pokemon. The value of this card, is about like $35 on TCG Player, probably in the near mint variety. It's a very important card to the set right now. I'm going to put it in the A tier, one of my faves. Speaking of one of my faves, this is coming from a purely artistic standpoint, but it is Arcanine, an uncommon, number 23 in the set, worth about $2 to $3. So not too much, but Arcanine, as we know, used to be considered, did not used to be. It was believed to be considered a legendary Pokemon. I believe it says it in the Pokedex entry, but it never was made one. So it's probably the inspiration of maybe Entei and Gen 2. Arcanine, this is just a cool card, one of my favorites. It is also going the A tier, but next to Alakazam. Again, not from a value standpoint, just a good looking card. Beedrill. Beedrill is a rare, non-holographic, number 17, also worth about $3. It's a decent looking card. I like the little jungle in the background look there. Nothing really crazy about it. I think it's a B tier at best. Didn't really use it in the meta at all. Next up we have Bill, which is definitely meta-wise one of the better cards, because you just use a bill and draw two cards. You could put, I think, like 4 at a time in the deck, so oftentimes you put a lot of bills and a lot of Professor Oaks and computer searches, stuff like that, if you're trying to have a strategy where you would amass cards in order to get what you need, whether it's energies or Pokemon or whatnot. Bill is a solid card in the meta. Bill is A tier. Bill's price, 35 cents, so you can pick up a bill fairly efficiently. Next up, Blastoise, one of the big three, the final evolution of Squirtle, and also another card that I did use in the meta with the Rain Dance deck. I believe the Rain Dance deck involved his Pokemon Power Rain Dance, which says often during your turn you may attach one water energy card to one of your Pokemon. Yada yada yada. So it was very useful. I think you use it in conjunction with Fossil Lapras, which I'll talk about in another tier list. But Blastoise, one of the big players, one of the big pulls that everybody wants. A lot of people's favorite Pokemon of the three. Mine's personally Charizard. $106 card, S tier, no questions asked. So going back to the original starters, you have Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle. So right here is Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is coming in at about $2, 37 cents. It's a good looking card. I mean, what's not to like? If you're a Bulbasaur fan, this is probably one of your favorite cards. I'm not the biggest Bulbasaur fan, but I'm not a Bulbasaur hater either. I love Venusaur, so again, this is just one of the starters. But it's one of the most iconic starters in all of Pokemon. So I feel like Bulbasaur's gotta go in the A tier for me. Caterpie, what's much to say? I mean, it found in the Viridian Forest, worth about 92 cents. String Shot. It's on Aber territory in C. And then we'll go back to another holofoil, Chansey, number 3, worth about $20 in its standard second print, whatever form you want to call it. Chansey had that scrunch ability, flip the coin, and you basically couldn't do any damage to Chansey, so that made Chansey quite powerful. It's 120 HP, made it a tank, so you could use it with the Alakazam Index just to switch damage counters onto to basically take from your Pokemon that's either active or whatever. So Chansey could do a lot of damage. Chansey could take on a lot of damage. Chansey could also do a lot of damage with the double edge, but obviously some coming back to you. Chansey's an amazing holofoil. The picture's great. Chansey's A tier, probably above Arcanine for me. So, the granddaddy of them all, no surprise here, Charizard, straight to the S tier, everyone's favorite card in the set. The unlimited version, about $355. Obviously, first edition Shadowless can be worth thousands or more, depending on their grading status and whatnot. Charizard is the king of the base set, basically. So if you had a Charizard card back in the day, you were a cool kid. I was lucky enough to pull one in my second ever pack that I bought from KB toy stores when I was 10 years old or whenever Pokemon came out. Again, meta-wise, Charizard really wasn't the best card. I mean, everyone who just collected didn't really play the game. Sorry, 120, and this guy does 100 damage, like he's clearly the best. But I mean, in reality, Blastoise is meta more playable and more usable, because Charizard you have to discard, I think, 2 fire energies for that 100 damage. Obviously, all fire types are usually discarding energy for their attacks because that's kind of their gimmick. But yeah, collectability wise, nothing better. So we're going to get into the Charizard line since we're going by alphabetical order. Charmander's next, worth about $1.75. Same playing field as Bulbasaur. I'm going to throw him in the A tier. Charmeleon, worth about $1.88, so a little under $2. I always like this artwork. It's pretty cool. Charmeleon, Charmander, and Charizard are obviously 3 of my favorite cards. Like a lot of people, I'm going to throw them in the A tier as well. In no particular order, really. I mean, I guess I like it better than Bulbasaur, but that's what it is. Alright, so now we're going to get into the trainers with Clefairy Doll, which is a rare. It's about $5 card. And I believe the gimmick of Clefairy Doll was it had 10 HP and you could put it in place of your active Pokemon. And basically it was used as like a meat shield. And it doesn't count as a knocked out Pokemon. So yeah, just kind of like a good nostal deck if we're talking the meta. About a B tier card in my opinion. So then going on, also noted that like Clefairy, like in Kirby, always got me confused because they always looked like similar. I don't know, kind of like a Kirby with ears. You comment on that. Next up is Clefairy, a holo rare, one of the few like basic, I guess, stage 1 Pokemon. Well, maybe not stage 1, but whatever. One of the Pokemon that evolves that had a holographic, at least in the base set and to start. Number 5, about $22. Good looking card. Definitely one of my favorites to collect. Like you had the sing ability, you had the metronome ability, which Clefairy was known for. I think Clefairy is A tier for me. Not quite S, but A tier. I'll put it right up there with Chansey and Alakazam. Next card is one of the ones I mentioned before when I was talking about Bill. It is Computer Search. Computer Search is also a rare, about $5. It gave you the ability to search your deck. I'm going to look exactly. You had to discard 2 cards, so that was the problem. But you could search your hand for any card and put it into your hand afterwards. Sorry, and then shuffle your deck. Any card. So that's where it was the most powerful. Yes, you had to lose 2 cards for it, but you got to pick up whatever you wanted. Whether your deck is based on energy, you can pick up energy. You're running low on a basic Pokemon, you're looking for your evolution. You can pick up a trainer, etc. Very useful card. It's gonna go in the A tier. Defender is next. And Defender, it's an uncommon, about $1.30. So Defender's ability was you attach it to one of your Pokemon, and at the end of your opponent's next turn, you would discard Defender. Damage done to that Pokemon by attacks is reduced by 20 after applying weakness and resistance. So it was useful, but not the most useful card. It's not terrible. B tier, kind of Clefairy Doll. I use it on occasion, but not all the time. I mean, you use your Bills, your Professor Oaks, etc. way more than you would use that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. De-evolution spray. The purpose of it, I guess I get it. Like status, you could remove status, but you'd also have to de-evolve it. I'm throwing it in the D tier. I didn't really use it that much. It was just kind of one of the rares I didn't want to pull in the set, and exactly worth about $3. D tier, de-evolution. It goes. Next, Dewgong, uncommon. Dewgong is a pretty powerful card, coming in at about $2 for the regular version. It had 2 moves, Aurora Beam and Ice Beam. Aurora Beam doing like 3 energies for 50 was pretty good, and the Ice Beam could paralyze you. It's about a B for me, about Beedrill level for me. Pretty useful if you have a water deck. Kind of could take a lot, but obviously there's better cards out there, but at the time maybe there wasn't. So next up is Diglett. Diglett, I have a funny story about Diglett that I will share. Back in the day, my next door neighbor and I, we started collecting Pokemon cards together. He was there when I pulled that Charizard at the KB toy store in whatever, 99, 2000, whenever I first started collecting the cards. And he pulled a Diglett. And apparently later on, his sister, I remember, pulled a Charizard. But Diglett was her favorite Pokemon, so she traded him... I think he traded her a Diglett and a Pikachu for that Charizard, so that's how he got his first Charizard, was ripping off his younger sister. So shout out for that. I guess she probably doesn't know maybe what Pokemon cards are worth now or whatever, and I don't know if my friend still has that Charizard. I feel like his parents probably threw it out because He's from a big family, but whatever. Just a funny story. Diglett's straight C tier for me. Nothing special. 30 HP, not the best. 1 energy for 10, 2 for 30. Exactly. Deduo. What about Deduo? Common, worth about 61 cents. I never really liked Deduo because the attack evolved around flipping coins, and I hated flipping coins because I would never get what I needed. So D tier for you, Deduo. Double colorless energy. The only energy card on this list, obviously, because we're not going to rate the other energies, but this one was pretty useful. It didn't count as like a standard energy, but anytime you had like the normal colored energy where you could use any other energy, you could use this one here. So obviously in gameplay, like, you wanted to have these in your deck, especially if you were like a Haymaker deck with a Scyther in it, or Hitmonchan. And I think Hitmonchan only has one normal, but whatever. This is a card you needed. This is a card that you wanted. This card was very useful in meta. This is an A tier card. Dragonair. A rare, non-holographic rare. Dragonite wouldn't appear until the fossil set, so we will go over Dragonite later. The artwork is really cool in this card. I always like this one. Worth about $10. Definitely one of my more favorite cards, but I'm not sure if it's A tier for me, but definitely high in the B tier. Dratini. Obviously the first evolution of Dragonair. It was an uncommon, and it's still almost worth about $2. 40 HP, 1 attack, you could do anything. It's just okay. It's not as cool, the artwork. It's definitely C tier, maybe better than the other two, but nothing special. Drowsy, my boy Drowsy. I was always a big fan of the Psychic guys, so obviously Drowsy was one of my favorites. Worth about 55 cents. I'm going to take a look at its attacks. Obviously you got the 1 for pound, and then a Confuse Ray. You could confuse somebody by flipping a coin with 2 Psychic energies. Kind of a lot. I mean, I guess, like, looking back, and it's not the best of card, but C tier. Drowsy's about C tier. So now back to the evolution of Diglett, Dugtrio. Dugtrio is a rare, coming in at about $5.50. Dugtrio had 70 HP. Pretty cool looking card. Not the best, not the worst. I think it's a B tier in my opinion. It could do decent damage. Maybe I like it a little bit better than Beedrill. Electabuzz. Now, I was a fan of the Haymaker deck when I used to play, and in the Pokemon TCG game on Game Boy, I would build Haymaker decks. Electabuzz was part of that deck because it's a basic Pokemon with 70 HP. It has a stall move with the Thunder Shock where you can flip the coin. It's paralyzed, and then Thunder Punch you could do about, for 2 energies, you could do possibly 40. Granted, like, if you got Tails like I did a lot, you did 10 damage to yourself, but Electabuzz could take the damage. Electabuzz was, like I said, staple of that deck. Electabuzz is high A tier for me. I'd probably put it ahead of Clefairy. Meta-wise, you know. Price-wise, I think Electabuzz is about $6. So not too bad for a non-holographic rare. Speaking of non-holographic rares, here's a segue. And this segue is Electrode. Another rare, worth about $5, so not too bad. I do like the artwork on Electrode with that kind of like rainbow, like, I don't know what you want to call it, background. It looks decent card. I think it's a B tier at best kind of card for me. Energy removal, a common, 37 cents. Remove one of your Pokemon's energy. Very useful in playing the game. I think it's either a high B tier or it's an A tier card because it could really help you out in a time of need. I'll put it high B tier. Energy removal. especially because I was seeing later on there's a more useful version of it down the line. Energy Retrieval. This one, it was an uncommon, worth about 36 cents. I believe you had to discard one card. I will double check that for you. Yeah, trade one of the other cards in your hand for up to 2 basic energies from your discard pile. So yeah, any energy efficient, I would say energy efficient or energy needy deck, you had a couple of these in there, and it was able to get your energies back whenever you needed them for battle. Yeah, it's not in the C tier. If anything, this is an A tier trainer for me because it was very useful. Probably put it with his boys, Bill and Computer Search. Definitely a useful trainer. Next up, we have an uncommon Farfetch'd. About $1.12. Farfetch'd I didn't really use much. Has the three energies for the Leak Slap. Sorry, Pot Smash. Which it's kind of a lot. I mean, looking at Farfetch'd 50 HP, I mean, Leak Slap, you had to flip a coin, so if tails, the attack does nothing. Granted, 30 damage is a lot, but I did not like to rely on coin flips. I don't really want to put it in the D tier with the duo, so I'll probably put it in the C tier. Not a card I use a lot. Full heal. What's there to say? It just removed a status condition. That's basically what it did from your Pokemon. I mean, it's actually worth $1.57, which is more than I thought it would be. It's okay. I mean, I can see its usefulness, but low B tier. Next up is Ghastly, a common, worth about 2/4. I mean, Ghastly had 2 moves: a Sleeping Gas, flip ahead for a sleep. You know how I feel about flipping coins. Discard an energy card for Destiny Bond in order to use his attack. I think Ghastly may be a higher C tier Pokemon. Going down the list, we have Growlithe, uncommon, worth about $1. Growlithe is a good doggo, so Growlithe is free from the C tier. I think Growlithe is a B tier basic Pokemon for me. Gust of Wind, common, worth 26 cents. Very useful in the meta, just so you could switch out one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for like a quick kill or whatever. So it was definitely one of the more useful trainers. I'm gonna put it in the A tier with its other boys. So back to Hollows, we have Gyarados, $25, holographic rare. One of the more badass Pokemon in my opinion. The artwork is great. 3 energies you could do Dragon Rage for 50, and 4 you could do Bubble Beam with a chance of paralysis. Gyarados is a solid A tier Pokemon. Maybe right here. So coming up next, we have Haunter, uncommon, one of my favorite artworks for kind of the middle evolution there. Gengar wouldn't come around until Fossil set. Haunter's worth about $1.34. In its raw near mint condition. Hypnosis could automatically put you to sleep, which was good, but you couldn't use Dream Eater unless the Pokemon stayed asleep. But 2 for 50 was pretty strong. It depends how good your opponent's at coin flipping ability. You could really do some damage with it. So I think Haunter is a pretty solid B tier. Next up, back to the Hollows, Hitmonchan. Chris fact, the first holographic I pulled in my very first pack was a Hitmonchan, and I still have the card to this day. Saw a lot of battles. This is probably a PSA 2, but I love that card. I will never get rid of it. Maybe get it graded just for posterity, but it probably would be a 2 or a 3. But yeah, definitely one of the big members of the Haymaker deck. This card was basically the namesake of the Haymaker deck. Hitmonchan, 1 energy, you could do 20, 1 fighting energy, 20, and then Special Punch, 3 energies, 2 fighting, 1 normal, you could do 40 damage. It was a killer. I'm going to put Hitmonchan in the S tier for reasons alone. It's also a cool looking card. Imposter Professor Oak. I hated pulling this guy in celebrations. I don't think I said how much Hitmonchan was worth. $15, by the way. I will edit that. Imposter Professor Oak, a rare. Chances are the one you didn't want to pull, worth about $5. I forget Professor Oak's gimmick. Oh, your opponent shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck and then draws 7 cards. Basically the opposite of Professor Oak. He was in a straitjacket. It's kind of a cool looking card, but it is not my favorite card. I mean, I guess if your opponent, if you're you think their poker face is telling you that they have something good, I could see the usefulness in it. I put it in the C tier. Item Finder, which is another trainer, another rare trainer, coming in about $9, so not too shabby if you have any in good condition at home. But its ability was you discard 2 of the other cards from your hand in order to put a trainer card from your discard pile into your hand, which can be useful in the meta, like with maybe you get an energy retrieval back, you get a Professor Oak in a time of need, a computer search. Actually very useful. I think this is an A tier trainer if you ask me. Right. Ivysaur. Again, one of the second evolution of one of your starters. This is a very cool looking card. I've always liked this artwork. It's an uncommon, worth about $4 in its raw near mint form. 3 energies for a Vine Whip, or 3 you could do Poison Powder if they're all grass. Pretty decent. Seriously up there with the starters, so it's an A tier card for me. Jinx. So Jinx is kind of on the Electabuzz level, where it's just a basic Pokemon, but it has 70 HP, so it has like a good amount of HP. It's worth about 69 cents. It's an uncommon. But Jinx's double slap involves flipping 2 coins, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like leaving my my odds up to chance, or my coin flipping ability. Meditate was decent though. For 3 energies, you could do 20 plus 10 more for each damage counter on the defending Pokemon. So yeah, you could. There's definitely some meta things you could do with like the damage on the defending Pokemon and using Meditate. That would be useful. It takes it down a notch because of the double slap coin flipping. So high B tier for Jinx. Kadabra from my favorite Psychic line. Kadabra is a solid Pokemon. It is an uncommon. It's worth about $1.30. I think random fact was there was a magician out there. I think like either his nickname or something was Kadabra, so he actually sued Pokemon, and there was like an ongoing lawsuit that I think he like finally stopped. Now I think Leonhardt talked about this. He finally backed up on it, but for a while Pokemon couldn't put Kadabra cards out there because of this magician and this lawsuit. So Kadabra kind of, I think, might have been after like Expedition set or something. They did not make Kadabra cards for a while. So obviously when the V cards came in, or trainer Pokemon, like the SP Pokemon, where you could just have like an evolution, like be like a basic Pokemon. I think that was kind of the way that they could throw Alakazam back in the game when they could. But yeah. Kadabra always looked like he was given the middle finger because he only has 3 fingers and 1 up, so yeah. Kadabra could recover with 2 psychic energies, which was useful, and the 3 for 50. Kadabra is a solid A tier Pokemon, one of my favorites. Kakuna Matata, uncommon, about $1. It's a Kakuna. I mean, the artwork's kind of cool though. It's like the kind of like 3D, like Windows 97 graphics or something, like similar to kind of like Ghastly. It's a C tier at best. Coughing, common. 39 cents. Let me see what its poison gas does. Foul gas, I lied. Flip a coin. If heads, the Pokemon is poisoned. If tails, it's confused. Only does 10 damage, but that's useful that it does either or, so it was good for if you had any I don't know, status condition meta sort of deck. I can see its somewhat usefulness, but like for 2 energies for 10 is kind of expensive. High C tier in my opinion. Last is a non-holographic rare trainer, coming in at about $3. What was that last's ability? Because I can't read that screen there. You and your opponent show each other your hands, then shuffle all the trainer cards from your hands into your deck. I didn't use last much, but I could see meta usefulness there if you have someone who's heavily reliant on trainers and you think they have a lot in their deck. But it's kind of all based on your guessing. It's like I wouldn't put it. I think it's more useful than maybe like Imposter Oak. It's probably low B tier. Yeah, low B tier type of trainer for me. Machamp. The only way you could get Machamp back in the day was in the starter deck, and it was always first edition. If you did not know that, Seismic Toss was pretty good. It was a cool looking card. Machamp's a total A tier for me. One of my favorites. I'll put it with the hollows. Alright, Machamp. Now we go to Machoke. We're going to get the whole line in reverse order. Machoke was a pretty beefy Pokemon, if I remember correctly. It's worth about 72 cents. It's an uncommon. Karate Chop did 50 damage minus 10 for each on Machoke, so the more damage it took, the less useful it got. Submission, you automatically did 20 to yourself, and it did 60. Fairly decent card. I'll put Machoke maybe like high B tier. Machop. 1 energy for 10. I'm 20, sorry. Fighting energy for 20 damage. A pretty good start. I mean, like, obviously you have Rattata at 20 right off the bench. But Machop was a pretty useful starter, is what I'm getting at. Basic Pokemon to have in your deck. Solid B tier. Magikarp is actually worth $1.53. It's an uncommon, which I forget. Flail does 10 damage times the number of damage counters on Magikarp. So Magikarp is C tier. It's worth like decent money, but I mean meta wise, I didn't really see any people rolling Magikarps unless you had a Gyarados in your deck, obviously, but you weren't just gonna roll with Magikarps out there for the fun of it. Magmar, like Electabuzz and like Jinx, is just a lonely Pokemon that doesn't evolve, I guess, for lack of a better word. Magmar is also an uncommon, worth about $2. Its attacks: Fire Punch, Flamethrower, you had to lose an energy in a classic fashion. It's a B tier. It's pretty good. Magnemite, common, about 2/4. Self-destruct, you could do some damage with. Magnemite's C tier. Magneton, or Magneton, comment below. How do you say it? I say Magneton, but I've heard people say Magneton. It's worth about $19, so not bad. Not bad for a rare. Its Thunder Wave was pretty good. Flip heads for paralyzation, and it also did another self-destruct. And it did 20 damage to each Pokemon on each player's bench. It's a holo. It's worth a decent amount of money. If we're going on worth and looks, it's gonna go to the A tier. Maintenance, uncommon, worth about $2. Maintenance had you shuffle two of the other cards from your hand into your deck in order to draw a card. D. Metapod. Speaking of meta, common stage 2, worth 60 cents. It's about with Kakuna in the C tier, I guess. Mewtwo holo rare, $26. Mewtwo's cool. I always thought it was weird that Mewtwo didn't have more HP. Like 60 just seemed like they lowballed Mewtwo in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Psychic is okay. It could do 10 damage plus 10 more for each energy card attached to the defending Pokemon. Barrier, discard energy in order to use its attack. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to Mewtwo. I didn't use Mewtwo that much. That's why I didn't remember that. Honestly, Mewtwo's kind of B tier meta-wise. Price-wise, it's a cool-looking card. And it's Mewtwo, like $26, decent. It's a good looking card. So I elevated to the A tier just because of look and the price. But meta wise, I would put it lower in my opinion. Nido King, another stage 2 evolution, holo rare, worth about $25. I had one that's seen a lot of love. Thrash, you could flip heads and the attack would do 30 plus 10. If tails, it would do 30 and 10 to itself. Toxic, the defending Pokemon is now poisoned. It now takes 20 poison damage instead of 10. Oh, that was because it was like a deeper poison. A tier. Nidoran, 30 damage, and if tails, it did nothing. So it was the gambler's Pokemon of choice. 1 energy to do 30. Nidoran male, worth about 34 cents. For me, it was no. I'm not using that guy. It was D tier for me. D tier. Nidorino, worth about $2.25. Double kick also involved flipping, and Hornbill did 50. Cool looking card. I'm gonna elevate it to C because of its looks, but I did not like using Nidorino, so I didn't use a lot of Nidoking. Ninetales, a holo rare, worth about $25. Ninetales is a cool looking card. I like the flame, like the blue flames in the background. Just a majestic looking Pokemon there. Had 2 attacks, lure. If your opponent had bench Pokemon, choose one of them and switch it with the defending. Fire Blast, you discard 1 fire energy card attached to Ninetales and what it uses attack. It was pretty powerful. Ninetales, sorry, I'm moving it up. Ninetales is a B tier. Onix didn't evolve until Gen 2 came out. It was a common, worth about 63 cents. Rock Throw for 10. It could take hits though and harden. It was a good stall card. Onix is probably just A tier because of its ability to stall. Because with harden, you could, during your opponent's next turn, whenever 30 or less damage is done to Onix, prevent that damage. Onix is a great stall card. A tier. Next up, Pidgeotto. Alright, Pidgeotto, another rare. Worth about $6. I didn't use Pidgeotto much, and I think Pidgeot didn't come until Jungle Set, if I'm not mistaken. Whirlwind, you could switch out an opponent's Pokemon and mirror move. You would mirror your opponent's move, obviously. Hence the name. Pidgeotto is a cool Pokemon. I think it's a B tier. Pidgey's a common, worth about 79 cents. A Whirlwind, you could switch one of your opponent's Pokemon. But it took 2 energies. C tier. Pikachu, the most iconic Pokemon. Like, it became the mascot. And this card, pretty cool looking. They redid it in celebrations with that full art, which I really appreciate. Pikachu had decent HP, 40. I mean, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. Nah, Thunderjolt, you could do 30 for 2. Pikachu's gotta be high A tier at least. Good on you, Pikachu. The Red Cheeks version worth considerably more. First thing I did when I got my set back from my parents was I looked to see if I had a red cheeked one, and I did not, naturally. So, there we go. Plus Power, Trainer, about 73 cents, and uncommon. You could attach it to your active Pokemon, and they could do 10 more damage. It's about C tier. Pokedex, another trainer. Pokedex was useful like just for looking for your deck, but you couldn't really in like planning out your next cards. But not as good as like cards that could draw like Professor Oak or Bill. So you'd look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck and rearrange them as you like. I think it's a solid C tier. Pokemon Breeder was a rare, and it's worth about $6.55 on TCG Player. I want to read exactly what it said. You'd put a Stage 2 Evolution card from your hand onto the matching basic Pokemon. You can only play this card when you would be allowed to evolve that Pokemon anyway. So you could use this to like in the Rainmaker deck with Blastoise to go from Squirtle to Blastoise basically with this card. So it was extremely useful for those meta purposes. I put it like high B tier. Pokemon Center Trainer, uncommon. Worth about $2. Never use this one much, but you could remove all damage counters from all of your Pokemon with damage counters on them, and then discard all energy cards. So it was like, okay, it was kind of like a Hail Mary, but you lost all your energies. See, Pokeflute uncommon, worth about $2. I think it just wakes your sleeping Pokemon. Or choose one basic Pokemon card from your opponent's discard pile and put it onto their bench. I was gonna say D tier, but I guess C, because there's some sort of strategy involved with it. Doesn't wake your sleeping Pokemon like it does in the game, so that's confusing, especially when you forget. Pokemon Trader, a rare, worth about $3. In its near mint form, you could trade one basic Pokemon or evolution card in your hand for one of the basic Pokemon or evolution card from your deck. Show both cards to your opponent, shuffle your deck afterwards. So you could just trade out one Pokemon for the other. Or you could just use a computer search. So I'll C tier. Again, another card I didn't want to pull. Poliwag, common, 55 cents. Water Gun does 10 damage plus 10 more for each water energy attached to Poliwag. See. Poliwhirl, uncommon, $1.35. Poliwhirl had about 60 HP. Had 2 attacks. Amnesia, you could choose the defending Pokemon's attack and the Pokemon can't use that attack during their next turn, or Double Slap, which involve flipping coin. Ugh. Artwork keeps it in the C tier for me. Poliwrath, holographic, we're getting there, folks. Worth about $20. I had a few of these, but I want to say they were based at 2 Poliwraths. 3 energies as Water Gun, which is 30 plus 10. Whirlpool, defending Pokemon with energy cards attached to it, you can discard one. But 4 energies. Price alone, A tier. Next up, Ponyta, a common, 35 cents. Yeah, the benefit is you could do a double colorless energy to do the smash kick attack. And Flame Tail, I don't think you had to remove any energies. It's kind of a B tier. Porygon was definitely a Pokemon if you knew what you were doing, I guess. But I like the way it looked. I like the artwork. It's not the best, but Conversion 1, Conversion 2. Conversion 1, you could change the weakness. Conversion 2, you could change the resistance. It's kind of a D Pokemon in my opinion. Sorry, Porygon. Potion's worth about 13 cents. It healed you, so it's not D tier. It's like C tier. Professor Oak. My boy, you could discard your hand and then draw 7 cards. They nerfed Professor Oak later on that it made you end your turn after using him and turn him into a supporter, I believe. Professor Oak was OP for decks. Of the trainers, man, Professor Oak might be an S tier trainer. Professor Oak's value is still worth about $2, so good for him. Raichu, obviously the evolution of Pikachu, so it's very cool. Agility, you could prevent damage. Thunder, you could do 60. Raichu's got to be A tier. Eradicate, uncommon, about $2. Hyper Fang was decent, or Super Fang, which would do damage to the defending Pokemon equal to half of their remaining HP. Bite for 20. Eradicate's a solid B. Rattata, I mean, everybody knows this. 1 energy for 20, only had 30 HP though. It's not the worst. It's not the best. It's probably like a high C tier. Revive, worth about $2. It's an uncommon. I always thought this one was a rare for some reason. But you can put one basic Pokemon card from your discard pile onto your bench. Put damage counters on that Pokemon equal to half of its HP. I think it's kind of D in my opinion. Sandshrew, common, worth about 60 cents. Sandshrew's a C. Scoop Up. Scoop Up is a rare trainer, worth about $5. Scoop Up was very useful in decks where you would just pick up your basic Pokemon and return it to your hand. You would have to discard like energies or whatever was attached to it. But Scoop Up was useful in the Haymaker deck, or Think of it, you had your Chansey tank, and then you scoop your Chansey tank 90 damage on it. Then you would just scoop that up. You'd have to deposit the energies, and then guess what? Boom, Chansey tank back on the bench next turn, or immediately after that, back on the bench, and then boom, back to your shenanigans. Scoop Up is an S tier trainer. We'll separate S tier Pokemon and S tier trainers. Because not to think like, okay, you got Professor Oak and Scoop Up in the S tier. It's like, yeah, because those trainers, those are some of my favorite trainers to use. Those are S tier. Don't at me, but at me. You can at me at CollectsChris on Twitter and tell me how I'm a bonehead or whatever. It's cool with me. Alright. Only a few left to go. We have Seal Uncommon, $1.28. Seal's a low B. Useful, not the worst. Squirtle. Obviously, Squirtle's good. Had Withdraw, had Bubble. Squirtle's going up there with Charmander and Bulbasaur in the A tier because you could get some decent money. Maybe for like a first edition colorless, shadowless. I don't say colorless. Shadowless Squirtle. People grade them. Yada yada yada. Squirtle's worth about, see, $4. Not bad. Starmie is a common, worth about 60 cents. Staryu line. Staryu will be next. It could recover, like Kadabra. Starfreeze wasn't, Starmie's kind of a C. Staryu does 20 damage. I think Staryu should go wherever Machop is. Yeah, Staryu's actually better than Starmie in my opinion. B tier for Staryu. Staryu's also common, obviously, 38 cents, nothing special. Super Energy Removal, a rare trainer. Market value, about like $3.50. You could discard one energy card attached to one of your Pokemon in order to choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and up to 2 energy cards attached to it. So you could really screw them up. I had Energy Removal in the B tier. I think Super Energy Removal is A tier though. Super Potion, about the same as Potion. It would just cost you to remove more basically. It was an uncommon, about 28 cents. Switch is useful. Switch is gonna go A tier. Switching, just your ability to switch out Pokemon, maybe like if they had like a high retreat cost or you couldn't get them out quick enough. Artwork's cool. Kakuna and the Magnemite. It's pretty iconic artwork there. Switch is about 54 cents, but very useful. Switch more useful than Pokemon Breeder though. I'm rethinking my Pokemon Breeder in the B tier and I'm moving it up to A tier. Tangela common. Tangela or Tangela, 51 cents. C. I like Tangela. Its artwork's kind of cool with C. Venusaur, obviously holo rare, $83. Cool looking card. The Solar Beam power. Sorry, Pokemon Power Energy Transfer is what I meant. As often as you like during your turn, you can take one grass energy attached to one of your Pokemon and attach it to a different one. So kind of like the Rain Dance, it sounds like. Obviously, working my way up to the S tier for you, Venusaur. You deserve to be with your friends up there. In your place of honor at the top. Voltorb. Common. $1.40, not too bad. Colorless energy to do 10. Voltorb's a solid B. Vulpix. Vulpix is cute. It's a cute card. I mean, 2 energies for 10, confuse rate. You get the HP 50 error though. There were some, like the one pictured on TCG Player has HP 50 instead of 50 HP. So that's kind of a cool little thing about that card. That kind of elevates it to the B tier for me, just because of like the error variant of it. But otherwise, the card's kind of C, in my opinion. Last 3, Wartortle. Wartortle uncommon, second form of Squirtle. Actually worth less than Squirtle, $3. Which is kind of funny. It looks like Wartortle like always reminded me of like Mario 3, or I don't know, with the raccoon ears or whatever. Or the, what was it, Super Mario Land 2 where he had like bunny ears to fly. I don't know why. But I'm solid up there with Ivysaur and Charmeleon in the A tier. Weedle. It's a Weedle. It's C tier, worth about 30 cents. Zapdos, last but not least, Zapdos. The first legendary bird in the set. I think Moltres and Articuno didn't show up till Fossil, so it took a couple of expansions before they happened. Worth about $27. One of my favorite cards. Thunder, if Tails it does 30. I didn't like that, but the 60 was awesome. And Thunderbolt for 100. Zapdos is S tier for me. Yeah, artwork alone, like, it stands higher than a lot of the other ones. Zapdos in S tier. All right, guys. So if you hung in long enough, thanks for watching. Obviously, there was a lot of editing for this because I wanted to get the categories of the meta, the worth, and just the appearance. But yeah, let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? Is there anything in the A tier or below you'd elevate, or is there anything you would de-elevate? Any trainers from your meta days that were maybe more useful than Professor Oak and Scoop Up? Like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more exciting tier list videos and Pokemon related openings. And take care.